Hello, hello. Kim here, Abundant Life Tarot. Thank you so much for joining. I am so excited to be here today with my wonderful co-host, Donna from Artists in Oracles. And I have had the pleasure of working with Donna for the last several months of this year, and it's been wonderful getting to know her. And we realized we have a lot to share and a lot to talk about on various topics today regarding the call for readers, the call for those who have that niggle, that little nudge of whether or not they are ready to read for others or go pro or any of those things. So we want to share some nuggets with you. So Donna, welcome,
Thank you
and
so much. Yeah.
you're you're welcome. You're welcome. So, how are you doing?
I'm groovy. I'm grooving here. So happy to be here
Yeah,
on your channel with you today and excited about our topic.
me
And
too. Me too.
I love that the call. It's all about the
Yes.
call, listening to the call, answering the call.
Answering the call.
Mm.
And yes, Artist in Oracle. She has an incredible channel, and I gotta remember to well, no, it is in the description box, her channel link. Please support Donna. I would appreciate it so much if you would. So, well, we have a topic for us, readers. And much of our audience, I think we share commonly that people love cards. That's a given.
Mm.
But probably also, as much as they love cards, they probably love doing readings, and maybe just for
Mm.
themselves or readings for others. Both of us, Donna, you can share a bit about who you are, what you do, what you're about. But I think we both share in the love of delivering readings to others. And we gain a lot from that. We gain a lot of fulfillment from that. So yeah, I'm not going to speak for you. You can share about that. Like, what do
Yeah.
you do, what you're about, and what? Yeah.
Well, so you're reminding me like how I got into this. And it took me a while. Like I've been hanging out with cards for a long, long time. Like I was first introduced to the tarot back in college, which was the late 80s for me. I had literally never heard of tarot before like 1988 or something. And so like it took a while. I was like, what is this? Very, kind of leery and skeptical. But then I don't know, 5, 10 years or so after that, like definitely by the early 90s, we began to see like more decks come on the market. And
Mm-hmm.
and I was more drawn to oracle cards from the beginning. Like tarot to me was this whole ancient system. It seemed really intimidating. The person who introduced me to it was like, you could study this your whole life and you would just begin to scratch the surface of the tarot, which now I agree, like it's true, right? But you could still get started, right? Like you could still
Mm-hmm.
dive in. And so I began to notice like different oracle decks around. And I didn't think of it as collecting, but like I would see certain oracle decks in the One Spirit Book Club. Does anybody remember One Spirit Book Club in the US? It was like this little mail order book club that you'd get in the mail. Do you remember that?
I remember the book mail order things though. Well, like the penny, like you send a penny and then you get like you're part of a book club. But it wasn't spirit. It wasn't spirit based. It was like Harlequin novels.
Or like Columbia House. You're thinking of like Columbia House, right? And there was the
Yeah,
magic
the
ones and
CDs
everything.
and stuff
Yeah,
like that too.
I did those
Yeah.
too. I did those too. But sometime in, I think it was like early 90s, there was this book club and it was called One Spirit. And they were, it was all the like new agey titles coming out. And that's kind of like the only access I had to them because, those kind of books weren't really in Barnes and Noble so much at that point.
Mhm.
Like, where were you going to find these materials? And they began to have some oracle decks. And so from like this tiny little like postage stamp thumbnail, I'd like see an image of a deck and they do like a few little lines right up and I'd be like, "Oh, that sounds incredible," And I would
Yeah.
I would order them. Um So anyway, like it took years and years of me just kind of having a few decks around and just really playing with them on my own, not reading for anybody else. And then, more and more, I think it had a lot to do as it came into the mainstream more. And
Mm-hmm.
as, it was less kind of like taboo and people kind of
Yes.
knew what it was about, then I began to read for friends. And so that was sort of the start of it for me. And then collage came in there too as well. My love of collage and
You have a beautiful
ma-
collage deck.
yeah, so then I just made a whole bunch of collage. I came to it from that whole, vision board time that a lot of us remember, like make a vision
Mhm.
board, get clear about what you want, tell the
Yes.
universe what you want, manifest, And so I got into that, but like really quickly early on, I realized like something else was going on for me. And
Mm-hmm.
I was more learning about myself. I was like less kind of demanding, like, I want this, universe, bring me this. I was trying to figure out who I was.
Yeah.
And I was shown like a lot of past life things about myself by when I was doing collage, which was really wild. It was really interesting.
Yeah.
And I just kept doing it. And to try to figure out what was going on, I started writing about the process of what was going on. And then that led to me writing a book and teaching workshops. But all throughout that, I was working with image and color a lot. And then I
Mm-hmm.
got drawn more and more into tarot and oracle decks because of the artwork, because of my love of image. And then before I knew it, I don't know, like 6 or 7 years ago,
Yeah.
I was, like, collecting decks. I was really getting to it, and I didn't even know TarotTube existed. I didn't know about all you guys, I was just, like,
Here we were
in
over
my little
here.
bubble, yeah. So and
Yeah.
then I found TarotTube, and then it was, like, wonderful,
Yeah.
to link up with people all around the world with the same kind of interests, so
Yeah. And it's in the call to collect is for sure happening over here. I probably like aided in people's decision making on whether or not to collect. I'm guilty as charged,
well, you're an
but
influencer. That's because 'cause you're such an influencer.
baby
Well,
influencer, like baby, and forgive me, my peeps. I was so excited about diving in with my friend Donna. I gotta say hello. We'll do some hellos real fast. For those in the chat, I'm so happy you all are here. And we got some juicy stuff to talk about because I'm looking through the chat right now, and many of you I know are readers already. My question though, and y'all think about this, are you reading professionally? Are you reading for other people? And if so, why or why not? There's no judgment, but there is a purpose why we're here today. Just so you know, there's a purpose because, yeah. Hey, 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 Jackie. I'm so happy you are here. Oh, and many of the folks here in the chat, as well as Donna, Artists and Oracles, has channels. So if y'all are in need of some great content, you know, check out these channels. Hi, Robin. Robin's Reflections, another great channel. Hey, my friend Donna. I'm so happy you're here. Another
ah,
Donna.
Donna Riedler.
Two great Donnas. I love the name Donna. Let's see. Thank you, Jackie. Please, if you would be so kind as to hit the thumbs up, Pete. That would be most helpful because there's a call here, not just to the collectors, but to the readers. So we do want to get the word out, and liking the video helps. Hey, Ricky Sharma. I'm happy you are here. Hi. Oh, thank you. Yes. I do love the tarot cards. Okay. Okay. Oh, look at that. I belong to the science fiction book club. Hey,
Ah.
the whole world back then. Like kids magazines, National Geographic magazines, all the things. We used to always have all sorts of subscriptions. But I didn't know about the spirit one. I would have been all over it. I would have. I remember Columbia House and the Harlequin novels. Oh gosh, and the covers on some of those romance novels were like crazy. I was reading those as a kid. Can you believe that? That explains why I love readings. I'm a firm believer in that.
Ah,
All right.
cool.
Columbia House Video Club. Yes. Used to get so mad at my hubby for not sending the decline form back to the video of the month so we get movies we didn't want. That was the predecessor for the Netflix. Who had Netflix where you had the disc and you had to mail the disc back? That was
Oh,
post block.
yeah. Oh, totally. We did that.
So yeah. Hey, my friend Nomi. Jennifer, hi. Welcome. Happy you're here. Listening while working. We love it. And we'll watch the replay for whatever you miss. And I'm going to keep timestamps in case we have multiple topics. So I will be doing that to help us with the replay crew. All right. All right, friends. I think we are. Let's see. I mostly read. Okay. Thank you, Donna. I mostly read for myself, but I do readings for friends and family when asked. Okay. Okay, good to know. Good to know. And I bet you're a damn good reader because you've got people. Now I want to follow that up though, Donna, with would you ever consider reading for strangers or others or in getting compensated for it? Or are you just mostly your lane is reading for yourself and those who ask that you know? That would be my follow-up. Yes, yes, yes.
Mm. Yeah, because
And no,
that is
oh, go ahead. Go ahead,
that's what's
Donna.
on our mind today, right? Like,
Mhm.
where are people at with reading for others? Because we have some thoughts about that.
We do. We do. I'm going to share some thoughts in just a moment. Let's see. Nomi says, I haven't read for others in years, basically, but I'm taking a class now that requires us to practice reading for each other. I like that. It's fun, but not sure I'd ever go pro. And that's okay. And we're talking about, we could be talking about going pro for those who get that calling. And there are some, like with some of us, is stair step. For me, it was first reading for myself. I'm sure my friend Donna, artists and oracles, can relate. Then reading for others, people we know. That could be friends, relatives, spouses, colleagues. Then you like some of us get this extra urge to be like, I think I want to read for strangers. So it goes in levels. At least that was my experience. But some people dive right in and go straight to strangers. But I stair stepped.
Hmm.
Let's see. I
Same
had
here.
Netflix DVDs up until a couple of years ago, mainly because their new movies weren't available on their streaming service. That's correct. I've been a long-term Netflix person, and I do find different titles. But since I moved out across the pond, but not to London, but the other pond, the other part of the Atlantic, I can't send back discs, so I had to let it go. Jackie says, I've been reading a little for peeps through word of mouth. I need to properly advertise my readings. I prefer teaching classes. Oh, now that's something that is necessary in the world. We need teachers as well. We do. We do. We do. Okay, so now we're talking about the pro. What do you think? Now that we read some comments, what do you think, Donna, about this?
About reading for others?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, and like, what was your take on it? Your personal journey to reading for others, and you know,
Well,
and the
it definitely.
reason why we have this call today, this call. I have
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
selfish reason, but I want you'll say yours first. Mine's just selfish.
Okay. It was definitely progressive for me, right? Is that what you said? Stair step. Yeah. No, and it took decade. Like it took quite a while. Um,
Mhm.
but there was like a progressive thread, a progressive pull. It seemed to weave, cards, divination in general, but cards specifically. When
Mhm.
I look at it now, when as you get older and you look back at like your whole journey, when I look back at all my spiritual studies, trainings that I've done, how I've had a couple different businesses, healing businesses that I've done. Like there's this through thread, and cards have
Yeah.
been part of that. And in the beginning, they were like way in the background and kind of like secret, on my own. I didn't do that for other people, but
Right.
it's definitely always been there. and
Mhm.
then it just like, it's like a snowball. It kind of gets bigger and bigger, and then, next thing you know, you're just kind of running with it, and collage cards are spilling out of you, and you're buying decks, and then you're on TarotTube. Um, did I answer your question? I
Yeah, yeah, I love that spilling out of you. Yeah,
don't.
yeah.
Yeah, well,
Mine's because
I made like 100 collage cards in, I think, like a year or something. I mean, they just kind of came forth, and
love a
so it was
massive, like,
really.
collage oracle deck. That just speaks to my soul. Oh my god. Speaks to my soul.
I
Yeah.
recommend it. I recommend
Mhm.
it's so great to have a deck that is your own, that you can, you know what I mean? That
Yeah,
I mean, I used other people's images. I used magazines mostly, but I
yeah,
used some of my own photographs, and yeah, because then your soul can really speak through you, and it comes
mhm.
out on page in front of you. And if you're very visual, then there it is, the card. So
That's
if you think
true.
of when you get a deck, think of like when you find a deck and you're like, oh my gosh, I love that. Like I totally resonate with this deck. Then times it by like at least 10, right?
That's right.
When it's your deck. So I mean
Yeah,
when the cards are yours, when they've come through
true.
you.
It is times 10. It is, even whether you drew the artwork, for sure, that's like times 20, I imagine. Times 20, or like times 30 if you wrote a guidebook and you did the artwork. But even with me, like creating the decks I was working with, my working oracle decks, I'm going through, stock images and coming up with the keywords that resonate with me. Such a profound connection. And I related so much with what you said about being more drawn into the world of cartomancy, with oracle cards. And I think it was because, and I've talked about it a few times on the channel, but playing cards and other types of psychic modalities is what I felt comfortable with, because I came from a religious family, extended religious family, not so much in
Mhm.
my immediate family, but my extended family was like kind of judgmental. And so I could do palmistry with ease. Astrology was something that people, were okay with. Um, just tapping into your psychic abilities, and playing cards were very well, hidden in what you're doing in terms of prediction or divining. But it was Oracle in, I think it was 2016. It's the beginning of 2016 that I really fell in love with Oracle, which was the gateway and gave me permission to say, I really want to go deeper with this card reading thing. And it led me to Tarot. And then from there, it was like a stair step. So Tarot for myself, big decisions, made a decision to buy a house using the cards, made a decision to leave a job, made decisions, and I was relying on, I was like, man, I want to take this gift and like extend it to the world. I want to help people with this. So then I, friends, family, co-workers, thankfully my bosses at work were very encouraging. And then my own little opening up my Etsy shop, my website, the YouTube channel, all was open at the same time in 2017. 2019, I was thirsting for more and I went on the hotlines. And so it
Mm.
just progressively came to a point. And it's selfish for me because I feel like we need more readers. There's times where I could call on somebody who I know specializes in past life readings. I don't necessarily specialize in that. And it's nice to be able to refer a client to them. Or I'm beat tired this week. I am. And from now until New Year's, I'm going to be busy. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to refer a client who to a trusted colleague? Yes. So it's selfish. It's totally selfish that I
Selfish
want those.
in the best of ways though, right? That like, wow, we
Yeah.
need more professional readers are needed. Like there is a demand for people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just yeah.
And
Just
you want more community. You want more, what do we call it?
yes.
Cartomancy
Cartomancy
community.
Colleague Community, CCC. Cartom
CCC. That's what we're
yeah, let me
doing
put that,
here. We're
yeah,
just
put
trying
that
to
in the
add to
chat.
this lovely pool on that already exists on TarotTube of of the Cartomancy community,
Mhm. I like that. I'm putting that. Tournament CCC. That's what we're about. So yeah, I it's a selfish thing, but like you said, it's not coming from a bad place. It's coming from a place of it's nice to have backup. I was exhausted the other night
Yeah.
and just dog tired. And I knew I didn't have the bandwidth to do another client reading and certainly not to go on the hotlines. And it's just like, there's so many people who need readings. Whenever I get on or I've got, readings coming through, people need us. Yes, sometimes people will be like, oh, well, they're just trying to get away from getting therapy. Well, I have clients who have therapists on deck, life coaches on deck, and yes,
Mhm.
readers. And I think there is a shortage of readers who are called to read for others. What do you think about that as I timestamp?
I mean, I agree just because I'm not on the hotlines, so I don't know, but I mean, I believe you. I believe you. And and but I do, I mean, to me it's obvious that people are hungry for this kind of work, whatever you want to call it, work modality, right? Coaching, counseling modality. Because if you just look at the marketplace and you look at all the cards coming on the market, like
True.
they're on the market because people are buying them. And
That's
would
right.
people be buying this many decks that have gone mass market if people weren't using them? And so if people are just buying them and
That's
using
right.
them that are, lay people, right? Then there's a demand for people that are professional that really have experience and training and can read for you with those decks. So, right? Like to me, that's like the proof is in the pudding. Like,
Yeah,
look at all the decks on the market. People are doing it.
that's true.
People want it.
And we all were once lay people, right? We all were. I was totally a
For
lay
sure.
person before I
For sure.
started reading for others professionally or reading for others,
Hmm.
period, not just professionally. We all were lay people. I'm like, oh, look at the pretty cards with the keywords in the Great Guidebook. This is cool. And then next thing you know, I'm like, I think I was somebody, I think I want to get a reading. I got a reading when I was 16 years old. Probably not, back in the day, like, I don't know if they had the protocols like they do now. It's like you shouldn't read for people under 18, but
Oh,
I
right,
was
right.
going to give my way anyway. Like, I was going to lie about my age. I had piercings and stuff. You were supposed to be 18 back in the day. I managed to get it when I was 15, like piercings on my face. And so I was determined. But got a professional reading. And so I knew about readings. I knew it was a thing. I just can't believe that I'm now professionally doing it full time now. And so I like to
Really?
help people. Yeah, I
Really? Like you still
no,
stop and pinch yourself and you're like, I just got off the hotlines for 5 hours. Check me out. Right?
yeah. As soon as I pitched myself this morning, I did a birthday reading. A client like came like a my private client, and I was like afterwards, I'm like in my gown because it's an overhead, like I'm doing the reading overhead. She can't see me. And I was like, I just worked and earned some money doing what I absolutely love is super fulfilling in my nightgown early this morning. I'm like, that's just, I can't believe it. I
Gotta love
very
technology.
gotta love it. And I just love getting this conversation going for those who may feel a calling or don't see the path yet. And you
Hmm.
can start part time like I did. I had a full on 20-year career, a professional career as an analyst. It was my last job. And on the side, I'm on nights and weekends, I'm doing readings. And now I'm doing it full time. It's just kind of wild when I think about
Yeah.
it. It's wild.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's for this type of work or, really anything uh, spiritual related. Like I'm a big advocate of like start part-time, like do it on the side, keep your day job.
Hmm.
My degree is in theater, right? So there's the old adage of like keep your day job, as an artist, right? You just sort of
True.
learn that early on, like, okay, yeah, pursue your art, pursue your passion for sure, but like keep your day job. So
That's
and
right.
and and especially when you're young and coming up, like in your 20s, it's all about you got to figure out who you are and we're all big eclectic, people. We have lots of interests, and you could have a whole other 30-year career that serves you really well while you're doing all kinds of other spiritual work on the side.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
so yeah, I'm a big advocate of that.
Yeah. Just and start where you are, start where you can. That's what oh, yeah, you and my start was because I was buying a couple of mass market decks in the beginning, like my collecting journey, not the little random little affirmation decks before 2016. But I wanted more. I wanted indie decks, but I had a budget. I lived in expensive California. The earnings that I was making was going for the household, yes, with my husband, but it took both of our salaries to make it work. So my love of cards and my love of helping people kind of combine. And I was like, well, you know what? If I get a reading and I make X number of dollars from that reading, I can use the proceeds and buy me an expensive, like beautiful indie deck. So people probably don't know that much. That's that's actually like the catalyst.
That's your
But I started where I was at.
Yeah.
Website through WordPress, YouTube to do videos and upload my video readings, and started where I was at.
Mhm.
And I'm still bootstrapping my business to this day.
Yeah, but
I'm all just
you're doing it, like, and that's kind of why we're here today with all of you guys. Like, Kim and I just had some talks on our mentoring calls because I am with Kim's program, and I've been a mentee of hers for several months, and she has the best story. Like, she's always telling these stories, like how she got started, and what it's like on the hotlines. And I just keep saying to her, like, people need to hear this because this is how more of us are going to find the courage to become readers, because she
yeah.
is doing it. And she's like, I chose you because you're really doing it. You're making it happen full time,
Oh,
which is amazing.
it's
It's
trippy.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah,
So
I just
anyway, that's what we want to do, is like we want to kind of build a community where we can all, like, come
yeah.
on in, hear stories, take turns telling stories, and even if it's not directly about card reading, just stories from your spiritual trails, different things you've studied,
Mhm.
because it all weaves together. It's
That's
all
right.
part of building your self-confidence and your history of, like, oh, I get, because you wake up one day and you're like, I guess I'm a reader. That's
Yeah.
sort of what happened to me. I'm like, I guess I really
Yeah.
am a reader, like, I really like this, and my readings seem, people seem to like my readings and benefit from my readings, and I kind of like this more than anything I've done to date. So I guess I'll keep doing this.
Yes. I'm a reader. Tell me, chat, like, do you remember that moment where it was like a aha moment? I'm a reader. You wake up, or
Mhm.
maybe you're at the table after you closed your, reading or whatever. You're like, I'm a reader. It's such a great feeling. I'm getting goosebumps. Maybe it's
Yeah,
all of your collective like energy of I'm a reader. I'm gonna look
yeah.
at some comments here.
They're
It
chatting
says,
away. We really got to get back
yeah,
to
I
them.
know.
I've been
I gotta
so
catch
enamored
up.
talking to you, but like I want to hear
Yeah,
what
I know.
everybody's
It's
saying.
like we're just chit chatting amongst each other on a Thursday. Let's see. Um, Nomi says you teach tarot classes. I think that's something I would enjoy too someday, a day far, far away. You would be a great teacher. You and I have had some beautiful time together. So I know you would be an amazing teacher. And it is fun to teach. I love the role of teaching. And that's another area of focus. If you're not really called to do readings, but you've been doing readings for yourself for like 10, however many years, perhaps maybe your calling is more like coaching or teaching others about cartomancy, the
Hmm.
artistry of cartomancy, right? Donna says, honestly, I don't feel confident enough in my reading skill to read for strangers, though I am curious if I would be able to read effectively for them. I guess there's really only one way to find out. And see,
Yeah.
that's that
Yeah.
little intersection right there.
Yep.
That's where I was at. Yeah. I think yeah, Donna, you probably can relate too.
I can still totally relate to that because, a lot I read a lot for friends, or, casual friend, people I've known a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And so really what I'm still wanting to do more is just read for somebody I don't know at all. Just have more of that experience under my belt. And I think it's like anything else. The more experience you have, then it comes. Like you just have to work at it,
That's true.
you
And I
know?
still get butterflies in my tummy, like, a brand new client, maybe not an existing or repeat client or someone new to me who, books through my website, through my Etsy shop, or on the hotlines, it rings, the phone rings. I'm like, oh, am I going to deliver? And then at the end of the thing, you're like, oh my gosh, it's so
Yeah.
gratifying. And the only way I could find out was I had to read for a stranger. But I felt comfortable as opposed to diving right into the hotlines. And I know people who are brave and ballsy enough to do that. I started with my Etsy shop and my website, primarily my website first, and then other little outfits that let me sell readings or fairs and like little festivals that were local in my little town or community. I got to practice on reading for strangers because
Mm,
you get certain kind of validation as a reader that you may not necessarily get from reading from cousin Joe or whatever, because cousin Joe. So for you, it may not feel as gratifying as if like a stranger at the end maybe have tears in their eyes, or they may be like, how did you know that?
yeah.
That keeps me going.
Yeah, totally. Plus, cousin Joe doesn't always take us as seriously. Like, oh, come on,
Right.
you know me my whole life. You're just like, like, well,
Yeah.
yeah, but the cards, like, look at the
Look what
cards,
the cards are saying. Cousin Joe,
Yeah.
look. Look what it's saying here. And that's the other thing, or you have a supportive relative who, you do know your family, but sometimes even reading for family and friends, there will be things that they didn't share with a soul. And
Hmm.
that comes out in the cards. And you're like, well, I'm just called to share this. I know I've known you my whole life, but I didn't know about this here. And they're like, oh my God, so you can still get those moments of gratification. And that's not the only reason why we do readings, of course, but it just is, it's like a little mile marker or a little signpost, or that you're making your way. You're a reader.
Yeah.
Jackie says, Donna, all you have to do is tell people you're new to doing readings and just take a deep breath and trust what you get. And yeah, sometimes
Sure.
there'll be times when I've started up with a new platform and a new hotline or something, and I'm like, oh, I'm new to this. Honesty is your best policy. I'm new to this. So a lot of people are afraid to be authentic in sharing where they are in their journey, because they want to be taken seriously. And I
Hmm.
get that. I get that desire. You want to be taken seriously. This is why another reason why Donna and I wanted to have this collaborative experience on a regular basis, either here on at Abundant Life Tarot or Artists and Oracles on her channel, where we have these dialogues and we talk about certain issues or things that come up. And of course, it can stay anonymous. If I share stories about client reads, it's probably going to come from hotlines. I would never share their names, but just to help us learn and grow.
Hmm.
Robin says, I only read for others once a month. It's draining for me. So I only do it once a month when I feel energized, and only over the course of 2 days. I love your boundaries, your parameters.
Hmm.
And that makes sense. That totally makes sense to me. I can't argue with that. There's sometimes I'm like, I have to have because I read professionally. And as you all develop your professional reading practice, whether you do it part time or full time, you will find that there is a need to disconnect. I have to
Yeah.
do at least 1 to 2 days off per week now. Otherwise, I'm no good to anyone.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Got to take
Hmm.
care of your energy, especially these days. There's a lot of drains on our energy
And
from the collective. Yeah.
yes, it's so true. The
Hmm.
collective is going through a lot. The individuals you're going to be helping is going through a lot. Even if some people are like, oh, here they go with this love issue again. They're pining over this person, but that's a lot for that person. So when you're taking on all of that, plus you're dealing with your own energy and the collective's
Hmm.
energy, at some point it becomes too much. so, so you gotta be able to take care of yourself, like Donna's saying. You got
Yeah,
to.
and
And Rob,
like any profession, right? Anybody in any profession, like burnout is a real thing.
Mhm.
especially in the helping healing professions, right? It's just a
For
common
sure.
knowledge. People in medical, EMS kind of people, right?
Yes,
Like that's it's hard on the body,
that's
because
right.
you're helping people in life and death situations, counselors, therapists. It's well known that like you have to take good care of yourself, have good boundaries.
Yeah.
And a lot of us spiritual people, we also understand that we're wired, we tend to be wired differently than people, right? We tend to be on the HSP, highly sensitive person scale, which is a real thing now. I'm sure you guys all know, but like there's all
Yeah.
kinds of scientific studies, thanks to Dr. Elaine Aron and all her work, that there's a certain percentage of the population. I think it's up to like 20% now they're estimating. Used to be
Oh,
5 to
wow.
10% of people were thought to be
Highly
have highly
sensitive.
sensitive person wiring. It means literally like our anatomy is just wired
Mhm.
differently than other people. And so because of that, we are sensitive in ways that other people think is kind of wacky, sensitive to smells and
Yeah.
food and sounds and strong emotions. And it's like, it's a real thing for us. And
It
so
is,
because of that, we gotta look after ourselves.
for sure. Time and
And
time
then
again. And you'll know when you get that burnout
yeah, and
in
I don't
your body
recommend
or
it.
I don't recommend it either. It's
Don't
ooh,
go
it'll
there.
knock you
But
out for a week or two.
well, I could
Yeah.
tell some stories in that department. Take good care
Mhm.
of your nervous system and your adrenals, and we'll talk about that
And
another day because I do not
yeah, for
recommend you
sure.
go
And we
there.
definitely will talk about that. It's
Yeah,
important.
yeah, yeah.
All of that. That's what we want to make sure we are supporting is that information getting out to you all. And Donna says, I think I would need to offer free readings first before I could ever think of charging for them. Otherwise, I know I get a bad case of imposter syndrome. Ah, yes.
Oh, imposter syndrome.
Syndrome. Jinx. Yes.
It's sitting right here on the desk beside me. It's
Yeah,
just
there
I've
it
made
is.
I've made friends with it. But
Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
Donna, I totally agree. And I offered all kinds of free readings, free you name it, like all the different work I've done, feng shui, space clearing, like I I did a lot of free readings to get some experience. I don't recommend that indefinitely either. That's another
Yeah,
really good like a whole topic for another
that's a
time when
whole
we
topic.
meet. But it's
Yeah,
certainly it's a valid way to get started for sure.
mm,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
Give it away to somebody that you know and love and say, look, help me practice this. Come for a reading.
Yeah. And what'll end up happening is that even through those free readings, there's gonna be people who inevitably will say, "Why aren't you charging for this? Are you planning on charging for this? I would pay you." And you'll start getting that kind of feedback, and then you'll start to get it regularly, like, and then you'll start getting tired. Hence why we have to have another topic soon about that. But because we want to talk about energy exchange and the importance of
Yeah.
that. But yeah, I started with giving free readings. I mean, theoretically, we're giving free readings to our relatives, friends, even colleagues. But even my colleagues started giving me like tokens of affection, like gift cards or stuff like that. I didn't want to take it, but
Oh,
after a
that's
while, I
awesome.
started taking it.
Yeah.
It's like okay, but you can
Oh,
do
that's
a
so
way.
great.
There's a way to do structure your free
Hmm.
readings. What were you going to say,
Oh,
Donna? Were
that's
you going to say
awesome.
something?
I love that they were like giving you gift cards and stuff. That's such a great thing. And
Yeah.
another topic we could talk about too, like there's like an education component that I'm really kind of passionate about, like as readers, c- whether you think you're a lay reader or a pro reader or you're kind of in between, like we need to educate the public more about
Yes.
taking care of about this idea of energy exchange and that the reciprocity of it, because we used to understand this back in the day. We had midwives in the community, for example. That's kind of one of the classic. There was always the woman in the community that knew how to deliver your baby, and she
Mhm.
was looked after. People took her food and whatever, helped her around the farm, whatever she need. There was this understanding of like you have to take care. You brought them food, eggs, chicken, whatever, you didn't come empty-handed when you needed some healing for your family, right?
Right.
And we need to teach the public about this because
Yeah,
we need to be taken care of too, as
exactly.
people offering readings.
Yeah. Take ourselves, I love what you were talking about the other day, Donna, about we got to get to a place of taking ourselves seriously so others take us seriously. The
Yeah.
work we do is very important. I know some people might poo-poo it or whatever in mainstream, not as much anymore. We're
Not as
hitting
much.
mainstream in a big way, but there's still this element of like, well, all you're doing is reading. No, that's not all we're doing.
Yeah.
We're doing heavy energetic lifting here. And it does physically, like we talked about HSP, those who are introverted, those of us who are various different kinds of empaths and intuitives, it hits us differently and it takes a lot of weight on us. So if we are drained, we can't really deliver as we need to deliver. If we're drained mentally, emotionally, financially, spiritually, we can't.
We can't.
So, but I am a
And
proponent. Go ahead.
yeah. And I was just going to say, and if we're not taking ourselves seriously, we can't work as well. So if you're
Right.
constantly doubting yourself, and I can speak to, listen, I can tell stories like, you can study till the cows come home,
True.
and train with this one and train with that one and look at all the books behind me, but like if and I've read all of them too, most of them. Like if you're constantly thinking, "Oh, it's not enough, I don't know. I don't know enough. I can't get started. I don't know." Like how can you be an effective reader for people?
Right.
You have to stand in who you are and what you've done and be like, I am a woman in my mid 50s. I know a few things. I have
Yeah.
done a few things and I can be of service. And like now is the time, right? Like look around, look at the state of our world. Like
Right. Look
the,
at the state. And you may
these
not think
gifts.
that you're not making an impact, but you are. One person at a time, or maybe you're like some of us who do readings for groups, a group at a time, one person at a time. But we need you, you know.
Hmm.
I mean, the world needs you. We need more people who are tapped in like we're tapped in.
Hmm. And
So
who are and more people who are staying out of the collective trauma that's happening right now.
yeah.
People that not people that are like la 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 la, I don't care, or that's not really
Mhm.
happening. No, 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 no. We yeah, we know what's going on, right? How can we not
Mhm.
know with all of our social media and live
Right.
stream, like we know. But people that know that it's most important to look after our own bodies first, nervous system,
Right.
then our family members, our community, because
Yeah.
we don't need more traumatized people in the world. We need
Right.
people that are in good shape that can look after the people that are dealing with tragedy every day, unspeakable
Every day.
things. But we have
I
to be we have to take care of ourselves, just like the doctors have to take care of themselves. We need doctors, we need
right.
nurses, right? Um,
Exactly.
so
Exactly.
yeah, yeah.
And so we have to take, and we're not talking about spiritual bypassing or any of that. We are fully aware as the healers and as empaths and intuitives and psychics, mediums. We're acutely aware of what's going on. I know, I don't want to shy away from the shadow aspects of the world. I want to be able to hold space for those who are going through, their own dark nights of the soul. But I have to be as well as I can be. I mean, that ain't always the greatest, but I have to be as well as I can be to hold that space for them.
Yeah.
I love that, Donna. I appreciate you saying that too about that's a whole nother topic too about imposter syndrome because
Mhm.
it even happens at the upper echelons. Your favorite long-standing tarot readers who are on YouTube, or maybe they're now on TikTok or Instagram. You best believe they're dealing with imposter syndrome too. It
Mhm.
doesn't just stop when you go pro. It is always something that's going to be lurking. Our little friend here. So that's a great way to practice. I think I feel much better doing it that way. Oh, I missed it. Friends and fam know to get on the schedule or out of luck till next month. I know they probably, I'm in now. it's like the day after they did their reading with you, and they're like, all right, put me on the calendar for next month. Just, I know we just read yesterday, but I'm in now.
Good for you, Robin.
Hi, Jane. Yes, yes, yes. I'm loving what everybody is saying. And okay, so Nomi says, uh-oh, my thing went away. Okay. We were partnered up, and my partner and I have only done one reading so far, but it was super exciting, fun because it was over Zoom, and we gave each other a lot of feedback even during the reading. And a partner, there's these Facebook groups out there. I think it's Tarot Nerds. I don't know. I haven't been on Tarot Nerds in a while, but when I was getting started, there was Facebook groups that would allow for giving each other readings in exchange for feedback. But I like us more structure. I like what Nomi is doing here, where she's part of a course or training, and they're paired up in partners where, everybody's kind of really being held accountable to contribute. But I love that. Love that real-time feedback, giving each other readings. And we're in a digital world, baby. We can reach out across the world. I was on a call last night, part of this membership called Soft Life Queens, learning how to live a more soft life.
Oh, that's
And
great.
there's a lady in New Zealand. I'm like, and it's like the next day where she's at. And I'm like, this is so cool.
Yeah,
Digital. Yeah. What were you
totally.
going to say? Did you have a comment on any of these comments
No,
as we move?
I'm trying to look on my tablet and look up at you. Sorry, everybody. And I'm
No,
like
girl, no
up, down,
worries.
trying to
Mhm.
follow what's going on in the chat.
Yeah, I like what Jackie's saying here too. Maybe just charge a fiver. Yep. $5. Donna, I do think it's best to charge, as it is an energy exchange, and you have to believe your time is worth something, no matter how small. It's so true. It's so true. And some people, they can do it, and they can plow through many readings without getting paid, especially, and when you are, let's think about it like this. When you're first getting ready to read for others, there is a somewhat of an exchange, and then allowing you to read for them, and you are gaining something. You're gaining experience, but over time, that ain't enough. The
No.
energy is that exchange is not going to be enough to sustain longevity, in my opinion.
hmm
But everybody got an
Another
opinion.
good thing to ask for is to ask for a testimonial when you're starting your business.
Thank
So
you.
I've been doing that. I've been calling in that from, people I've read for years, just emailed a bunch, 10 people and be like, okay, would you mind writing me a testimonial? I've got my new website up. So there's
Yeah,
always creative ways to think of the energy exchange. And even if
that's right.
I've done this before too, where like I've done a reading for free for a friend, and I'm sort of like, oh, I really, I wish, there was some kind of monetary exchange, but it didn't quite feel right. And so, you just sort of set your intention of like, yeah, but this is what I'm going to receive from the reading, or even when the reading's done, say, but you know what? That was an energy exchange because I just learned a powerful lesson, the reading I just gave for them, so
Yeah.
you can do it that way too when you're getting started.
That's perfect. You are absolutely right. Let's say, yeah, testimonials, huge. You got a website, that's going to be gold for you. That is an energy exchange right there.
hmm
If you're a content creator, and I would love if you subscribe to my channel. And sometimes people give donations for readings, through the live chat or whatever that you're doing your medium. I don't know about TikTok. I'm only really on YouTube. But there are ways to get energy exchanges where it's not like, oh, or earth shattering, and it's highly beneficial. Testimonials are huge, in my opinion. I'm glad you brought that up. Okay, Nomi says, thanks for the encouragement about how much fun it is to teach. It is. You gain so much. You're giving away a beautiful knowledge, and you're gaining something, in return. I gain something every time I teach. I get jazzed. I get off of a class or a Zoom call. I'm like, this feels great.
Yeah, I love teaching too. I really do love teaching.
hmm And that can't be dismissed as well as another means to get the information out, the component of education. Let's see. Jackie's Crystal Moon says, I think if you do things for free, people think you don't believe in yourself enough and they don't expect much. And they are not invested in either adopting the medicine you're giving. And they'll keep coming back, asking for the same stuff. And you're like, did you not pay attention to the last bit of information I gave you in the last free reading? I gave you some jewels.
Yeah.
But they're not
Well,
invested.
and and we have to always be mindful, even as spiritual folk, like the culture that we live in, all of Western culture, like the we value what we pay for. It's just part of the fabric of the culture. We've all grown up in that. And
True.
so it doesn't, you can be offering, great spiritual readings straight, but like, exactly, people may not value you if you, if you're constantly giving away for free. They may
Yeah.
think like, oh, well, she's just getting started or, whatever. So,
Yeah. And almost like you're like they're gifting you when you're actually a gift in and of itself. Probably all of us who are here right now and who watches the replay later, we are well versed. We are studying. We got decks with books and all sorts of little courses that we've taken throughout the years, and how many readings we've done for ourselves or for others. We are a gift. What we have is a gift that is of value. So value yourself, know your worth. It is worth a lot. Like I see all the books behind Donna, that's all knowledge right there. That's an investment. She spent money on those books and those courses that she took, and time, there's value there. Let's see, that charging even, so Nomi says, I agree with Jackie's Crystal Moon that charging even $5 would be good. I think people get more out of it if they put something into it. Absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah. And even
And
if you start out with the, charging $5, then you get in the habit of like, there is an exchange, because the biggest part of the hurdle is just sort of asking friends and family for money, or
that's
asking those
true.
first clients for money.
Yeah,
So yeah.
that's a good point too. Because sometimes it's like, oh, and so then that's the conversation. Like when you're like, okay, I'm going pro and I'm even going to charge my relatives. That can be a little bit like, that's another imposter syndrome moment. Like, who do you think you are charging your family? Well, they, if they support you and love you, there's the ways they can financially or support you by getting the word out. You just got some beautiful business cards made up, right? I'm going to give you a stack of my business cards. If people could use a reading, pass on the word, dear cousin Joe. There's ways that they can support. If you feel funny about charging your relatives, you can have a coupon code. Etsy allows, and something probably many websites like WordPress allows for you to create coupon codes depending on the plan you have with their website, plans or whatever. You could give a coupon code, a friends and family
Family
coupon code.
discount. Yeah.
Yeah, a family discount.
Yep.
But charge them.
That's right. That's right.
Ask them,
We're
charge
gonna
them
tell.
what
I
they
got
cost.
stories about that. We're gonna do the whole thing. We'll tell
Yeah,
our stories
we got to
about.
make a note. Yeah, there's so many little. I'm going to be watching the replay later for timestamp purposes, but I'm going to be making notes of all the little topics. We're like, yeah, that's a topic for another day. I'm going to be making a list
I'll do
of
the
the
same.
topics, and if
I will
you
do the
all,
same. Good idea.
yeah, in the chat or watching the replay in the comment section later, if there's something you want us to broach or talk about in the future, please let us know, because I will be making notes, and that will be stuff to talk about. But I agree with what everybody's saying. I have such laughs with people, Jackie says. I teach the very basics, then show them how to read intuitively, and we just spend the time pulling cards and interpreting for each other. It's my favorite.
That's great.
Favorite.
Yeah.
Yes. Hi, Jane. Thank you for joining us. Oh, yes. Yes, I'm glad you brought that up.
No, I
I
did
was
not.
talking.
What's this?
Yes, I was talking to Queen Osset yesterday. We had a Zoom call. Let me some Queen Osset. And she was like, she brought up the Pennsylvania thing. So she says, did you see the news story about tarot reading termed fortune telling is illegal in Pennsylvania? I did hear about it. Our algorithms. It's going to bring something like that across for my viewing. And I was like, here we go again. Like, what? I was like, I didn't know if it was a particular county, could be a county. Um, I'm from California, so for the most part, it's pretty like legal. It's just legal. I even got a business license in Sacramento County, and it was for tarot reading. I just couldn't be like having a straight up outfit of like people coming and going in traffic in a suburban neighborhood. Like it was, my home
Mm.
wasn't in a zoned area for that where I could have like a neon sign, but I could do virtual readings. So I have a license. But do you know the county right next over, or like the city? It wasn't the county, it was the city within the same county. You cannot charge for readings.
Wow.
I was in an unincorporated area that didn't have any rules. So they were like, oh, you're the first person who's applying for a business license for doing virtual readings ever. I'm like, really? They were like, yeah. And it had to go before a board and everything. It was kind of exciting. But the city that's only 15 minutes away from me, it you can't charge. They would have readers in there. You could leave a tip for the store. It's like selling crystals and other books and stuff, but you could not pay them for that service.
Wow.
And so even in liberal, open-minded California, it can be a thing depending. So I think it
Hmm.
sucks. What do you think? Think
Oh my
about
gosh. I mean, I just assumed all of California was legal for that. I mean, because it's one of the most progressive states in the whole country. Wow.
allegedly.
Yeah.
No, I love me some California, but
Yeah.
it kind of ticked me off. And I was like, I went and got a professional reading. The reader who was like, oh, she told me I was going to be doing this full time. And that a King of Pentacles, who is the astrological earth sign, my husband is a Taurus, and he's also like, he's earth, sun, moon, and rising all up and down. He's just
Ah,
total
triple
earth.
Earth. Wow.
Yeah. And like, I don't even know how he managed, but she predicted, and she gave me such a beautiful reading. It's just so profound, so on point. I couldn't believe what she was saying. I was like, that's not true. My imposter syndrome kicking in. And I couldn't pay her. So I bought some things in the store or whatever, but I was like, I want to pay you for this reading.
Hmm.
But nope. The city of Citrus Heights, I'm putting y'all on blast. They said no. Like,
But and yet, however many years ago, that reading is still with you, right? I mean, that reading must have had an effect on you. Here's some woman you don't even know being like, look, you're gonna do that. This, you're a reader. You're supposed to do this
yeah.
one day.
Yeah, she was like, I don't see you working for, I was at the time working for the state of California. It was what, 2019, 2020? She, I don't see you doing this forever. I'm like, and I was like, you're lying. Everybody who goes to work for the state stays there until they die or until they retire or
Right.
whatever.
Good state job. Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, no,
Who gives up their state job, Cam? Who does that?
who does that?
Who
I
does that?
must be crazy.
Kim does that. And she's doing that.
Yeah, I'm doing it. That lady told me that, and we didn't. I regret not recording it because she said I could record it, but I was just kind of like, so you go get a reading, you're like, oh, and I
Yeah.
regret not recording it. But I've paid for other readings, virtual ones, and I just love what we do.
Yeah.
I did hear
That's
Donna
awesome. That's a
Reader.
great
I
sport.
did. It sucks. That's another reason why we've got to normalize it a bit more. You know how people are like so like open to life coaching and therapy. I want people to feel that way whether you get a reading or not. People feel a way about massage therapy. But at the end of the day, they know it's
Now,
a modality that works, right?
yeah. Now they do, but still not that long ago, oh, you're getting a massage, there's all kinds of unspoken and still actually that does go on somewhat.
True.
But but
But
now
still,
massage but now massage is totally valid. It's licensed. Certain insurance companies will cover it because it is a completely legitimate healing modality, right? And I agree that is a big part of why I wanted to do this with Kim. Like I need to feel it too. As I'm starting out, Kim's like way down the path, dragging me along, being like, "Come on," And so it just this will help me as well to have these conversations, to draw on experiences
yeah,
I have that are transferable, to just remind
yeah.
myself like this is legitimate. it's totally
Yeah.
legitimate that like this is what I'm doing now. And I want other people to be able to stand in that because,
Yeah.
again, all hands on deck. There's plenty of work. There's people who need help. Let's get going.
Plenty of work. Yes. I love
Yeah.
that too. The legitimizing of it. Like the massage therapy is a great like analogy because there are some unsavory parts. Let's be real. There's some, back alley stuff going on. However, the same could be said about quote unquote fortune telling and people who are just in it for money and they're not even giving you real predictions or they don't even care. It's not even they don't care about the client. There is that element of it. And so, yes, there is that. But for the
Hmm.
most part, most people are following their passion and calling to help others on their healing journey.
Yeah.
So, like you said, now insurance companies are recognizing it as a legitimate means of healing someone.
Yeah,
I
and
appreciate.
and let's just constantly remind ourselves as readers whenever we have imposter syndrome that may go in that direction because I still have that. Listen, I was raised Presbyterian, okay? I got a strong, like, you know, good Christian girl for generations back. It's in my blood, right? But there are unsavory people in every profession on this planet, particularly our leaders right now. Look what's being done in our name all across the globe.
Oh,
So we just remind ourselves, like, yeah, but
yeah,
that's not me, like,
yeah,
and most people are good. Most just ordinary people living their lives, living a kind of normal existence here. We're good people and we're just trying to look after each other. And,
exactly.
so you just got to throw off this, oh, what are people going to think about me? They're going to think I'm this and that and blah, blah, whatever. No,
Yeah,
I don't, like, whatever.
yeah. Whatever. And that's another topic for another day too, where we'll be talking about that. Like people are gonna have things to say, like, that's not a real job, and blah blah blah. And I've known people, whether they are particularly on the hotlines, but they'll be like, I'm getting ready to buy a house and I need, I'm self-employed theoretically. How do I prove my income? And then they later come back a few months later, posting a picture of themselves, in their magical like garb or whatever that we like to wear as readers because we're so cool. In the front of their house, they're making a difference in their life too. So people are going to always have judgments.
Right.
They judgments when I was a claims adjuster for an insurance company. You're like, oh, you're part of the problem. I'm like, no, actually, I'm not. I'm part of the solution. I am not attached to somebody trying to just get your money or trying to gyp you out of your settlement. Like, that's not me. That's not how I operate.
Hmm.
Same thing. We
Yeah.
come with good intentions and
Right.
with love in our heart. And, like you said, all that's going on in the world, both collectively and individually, people are just going through it. Thankfully, we're going into the strength year as the collective. So
Oh,
this year is the chariot, next year is strength. So I wonder how that's going to show up for us.
yeah, that's gonna be interesting. Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. So we'll get through. So just
Kim,
giving you all,
I'm just checking. I'm just playing timekeeper here. Can you believe we're at an hour and a
yeah,
half already?
yeah. Oh my gosh, it is. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go through these last few comments, and this is just to give you all a taste of like various topics we've touched upon, and we have a whole list, Donna and I, of like all the topics that we want to broach. But if you all think of anything, please share them, because we want to keep the conversation going. You all are saying some amazing things in the chat. I know in the comment section, you all always say some amazing things. You all are the best, I have to say. Yeah, I would
Yes,
be
chat.
very gratified to be able to help people using this skill. Absolutely. I am. I am. And I want that for you. I know that I'm amongst company, and Donna too, where people are they love to give. And you get to combine your love of cards with giving, and it's just beautiful. Okay. Not because I don't believe, but because I don't want expectations. I only read what I'm up to and no exceptions. And hey, that's okay. That works for you. And that's a-okay. You got to set parameters, you got to have boundaries. It's not all love and light. No.
Oh no.
Set some boundaries. I was a little behind, but I totally believe that Kim is reading for others full time now. Ah, thank you. Yes, I am. I mean, it still doesn't shake out to like a full 40-hour a week like I was, in the States, but it is my full time gig. If we're not sitting at the reading table, you are doing the business part,
Yeah, for sure.
reaching out emails, balance, you know what I mean? Balancing your budget or your accounting. There's still,
Well, and then you have your
mm,
mentor program too. So you put in a lot of hours and time with that, mentoring
yes,
people like me, which is
yes, my
incredible.
poised to leap group. I just adore each and every one of you. I'm so grateful I get to mentor. And that was a surprise where I thought I was only going to be mentoring people who want to be tarot readers or go pro. But like folks are different walks of life and they may not be readers, they may be other forms of healers. So it's been a beautiful surprise. And as I go through, I think I want to, before we get out of here, I want you to share anything about what you're up to. What you got cooking, what's going on over at Artists and Oracles, you know? So what's going on at Artists and
Ah,
Oracle?
okay. Yeah. Well, I just launched my new website last week. I'm really excited. So this is a website devoted to my reading business, and you can check that out. It's artisansoracles.com. So I've been working away on that. It's the first website I'm like really able to be hands-on and do a lot of it myself. So shout out to Squarespace. If you're not very techy like me, I don't know, check out Squarespace because it's made it
Mm-hmm.
really doable for me with a
Mm-hmm.
bit of assist from my beloved IT hubby, who's great at just going shh and like making a few
That's amazing.
few little tricky things happen for me. But so I'm doing that, and I'm looking forward to these collaborations with Kim. And I do have my channel. My channel has been dormant for a couple of months, just due to life circumstances and travel and things. But I want to get back to making live videos is what I've
Yeah.
decided, because that's another thing we're going to talk about, like how
Yeah.
much time and energy it takes for a YouTuber to make these beautiful little film. I mean, they're like little mini films what people are doing, and like
Filmmakers, we
it
are.
takes time. Like I don't have that kind of time. I got books to read and decks to work with and
Hey, cards
clients
to
to do,
throw.
and I'm a wife and a, like a gallery curator, and like I don't have time to be making. I have time for watching YouTube while I multitask, but so I've just decided I do want to be back on YouTube. I want to be giving back to the YouTube community, and I want to be having conversations, but I'm going to do it with lives, and I'm starting here
Yeah.
with Kim because otherwise it just doesn't happen. It's too much editing and all that. It just takes too much. So,
That's true. It does take a lot. There's pluses and minuses to both formats. I will be doing more collaborations like with Donna, like with Artistry of Cartomancy. I've been putting the call out to those who want to do collabs with me. Live streams would be great. I will still be doing videos here and there, but it's getting to that time that's super busy for readers. Like, my goodness. But I like being busy. It's good. Let's
yeah.
see. Hey, Adam. And Adam says, Kim and Donna, I have a full time job and I'm also a tarot reader and astrologer. I do free readings, but people say I should charge something in exchange, but I don't know how much to charge and what to exchange. Well, Adam,
What do you recommend? What do you recommend, Kim?
in terms of what to charge,
Mm,
it's really going to depend on, in my opinion, on your delivery system. Are you
mm,
delivering audio recordings? Then you might can justify charging a little bit less. If you're doing video recordings, we just talked about like what Donna's saying, takes a bit, little filmmakers. So you're kind of, you don't have to do on a full edit, but you kind of want to make something special for your client. Or you're doing Zoom lives, which I charge the most for because I got to get all gussied up and dressed and decent. Do some price comparisons. Don't cut yourself short. Go on Etsy and think about the kind of readings
yeah.
you want to offer. Maybe you want to do I'm just throwing this out there. Maybe you want to do past life readings. And you type in, you do a past life search. You could do it, I guess, on Google, but it's probably easier if something contained like Etsy. And then go through and see what other people are charging. And then, think about your delivery. Are you going to be delivering face to face? Are you going to be delivering, you could start off if you want, you know, I don't know, 35 for 15 minutes. You have to find your sweet spot, but just go ahead and start charging. Why? Because your market will tell you if that price is good or not if they book with you. If you're not getting any bookings, you may have to adjust your readings. If you're getting too many bookings or like questionable kind of questions, you might want to bump up your pricing,
Mm-hmm.
And, that's some of the things I do help with my membership with Poised to Leap. The membership is we do talk a lot about pricing and finding your sweet spot.
Yeah, agreed.
Do you have any thoughts about that?
No, I mean, what I know about pricing, I've learned from Kim in the last couple of months, and in our group sharing with other readers, and it's really helpful because that is a tricky thing. Like, you get to that point, and you're like, well, I guess, yeah, I know I should be charging, but what do I charge? And I don't want to charge too much, and so you have to look at it like anything else. Do your market
Mhm,
research, look around,
mhm.
and then for me, it was I had to find a numbers that felt right to me.
Yes.
And so I came up with this thing of like, I like the 369, that magical 369 from numerology. So
Mhm,
I now offer 20-minute readings, 40-minute readings, or 60-minute readings
mhm,
based on 369, 30,
mhm,
35, 65, 95. And just
mhm,
when I found that, and it's based off of what other people are charging too, it just clicked. And
mhm,
I was like, I'm comfortable with that. I'm good with that. And
mhm.
I'm just,
You
that's where I'm starting
yeah.
there.
And you could get a gut feeling. I use my tarot. I consulted with tarot for pricing, even price adjustments if I need to go up or down, or my divinatory dice. I'll just be like, is it time for a price increase? And then see, we're magical, so we can tap into magic as well to help us. So like she said,
Kim is the
numerology.
queen of practice what you preach. Oftentimes we say something to her, she's like, well, we could pull cards on that. You could pull cards on you. And we're like, yeah, we can pull cards on that. We know how to do
Yeah.
that and we're good at it. So she
Yep.
she does that all the time, which is again
Yes.
very
Yes.
inspiring to have a teacher who practices what she preaches.
Yes. Do you think that thank you for saying that. Do you think
Mhm.
that cartomancy and mediumship go hand in hand? For some of us, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. Some of us are strictly cartomancers. We're reading strictly or the understanding of the book meanings. And then some of us are very much intuitive. And if you're a medium, you have that extra layer. So it really just depends on you, I think, as the individual. Yeah. So that's right. If you have any thoughts on that, do you think that cartomancy and mediumship go hand in hand?
Well, I do. Okay, so first of all, I would say you certainly don't have to be a medium to be a cartomancer.
True.
Um, but there is this new term that's come on my radar in the last year or so, and subtle mediumship, which a
Oh,
friend and colleague of mine, Denise King Francisco, taught me this, and her co-teacher Sandra Herrick. So I took a I don't know multi-month course with them online, and it was called subtle mediumship, and it was really tuning into understanding, how, the there's there's a whole wide range of being a medium, right? So
yeah.
most people think of like, oh, you're a medium, you see spirits behind people, you have these, you're very clairvoyant, very clairaudient, but there's a whole range. And if you're more on the clairsentient end of the clair spectrum, which I am,
Me
things can be
too.
very, very subtle.
True.
So, it's just something to think about. Like, how do you define mediumship? Mediumship
True.
can just be you get signs from nature.
Yep.
You have a particular kingdom in nature that speaks to you. Like for me, it's birds. For
Mhm.
lots of people, they have a relationship with the trees or the nature spirits, or so it does, and it's also very misunderstood. I think mediumship is misunderstood in our Western culture.
It is. It's so true. Thank you for that. Perfect, though. We'll just do a few more questions and we'll wrap up.
Okay.
Let's see. I always want to do more profound readings. How did I know that? That's what. I always want to do more profound readings. Questions that boring love money work questions. I would love people to ask past life. I know that past life conspiracy deeper question, and you certainly can do that. That could be your niche. You don't have to follow the grain. And now if you were wanting to do full-time professional readings, some could argue that you might have to do a little bit of the I don't want to call it the
Both.
Monday. Yeah, but you don't have to. You certainly could grow your business, grow your reading business by doing something like past life work. That's a hot topic too. Conspiracy and deeper questions, hot topics.
Mm.
Yes, people want to pay. I get that though. People don't feel right. They don't. Bless their hearts. I'm glad they don't feel right about just taking, taking, taking. Um, So yeah, they'll tell you and they'll send you a surprise little deck. So you have a wish list, y'all. Get your wish list together. Put your favorite things on there. That was another thing. I would get random little gifts at work, especially my colleagues. I would do readings for people like at our company or a location in South Carolina. I have colleagues over there and we would talk via Zoom or whatever. And next thing you know, at the office, I'm getting like a package. It's a deck.
Oh, I love that. That's so
Like, it's so
great.
sweet.
That is so
So
great. And so how did just because they knew you had a wish list or you had it linked on your website or like how did they
yeah.
know or they just sent you
Well, it
like a
was on
gift?
my website. Yeah, it was also I think at the time before I went real like on YouTube, I used to just have my full name on my Amazon.
Mm.
And same thing with my Facebook and stuff. But now I've shortened and truncated my name to the point where they're like, is that her? You have to really scrunch your face to look at my picture to tell if it's me or not for privacy purposes. But back in the day, it was my name. They could just search Kay Cooley and find the person. Oh, there she is. And they would surprise me. Or they might
That's nice.
they would do inter-office mail. I probably, well, no, we still do inter-office mail today, but they would enter office little gift cards and stuff.
Nice.
So I love it. So yeah. Yeah. You're going to deliver amazing readings. I trust and believe. We're always our biggest critics, right?
Mhm.
We always think that we're under delivering when we're not. Yeah. Hey, aloha, Jonathan.
Hey, Jonathan.
I'm so happy you are here. Yes, we have folks who do live streams and who are doing the thing that Donna and I aspire to do together.
Mm.
Like Jonathan. Like, I'm trying to think. We were going to do a shout out video of
Yeah,
folks.
shout out to our
Yeah.
other tarot tubes. So Sadhana is on
Mm-hmm.
multiple times a week, does great lives.
Mm-hmm.
Gerald, Tarot
Gerald.
Stash.
Gerald.
Yeah. Simon
And,
over in the UK. Simon was the first tarot tuber that I found. He was my
mhm.
introduction to tarot tube.
Yeah, we have every now and then I think Kasha tarot mat. Why am I drawing blanks? But certainly our friend Jonathan, who's here,
Yeah.
he interviews. Great channel, interviews creators and authors, and he's showing us amazing decks, all live.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Let's see. Oh, I had to block someone on Facebook because they were insisting that only in-person readings are real readings and anything virtual is a fake and a scam. You know what I'm saying? We want to
Wow.
legitimize it. We are very gifted. What we do is powerful. And sometimes we just can't explain it. But because we can't explain, people think it's a scam. It's not a scam. It's not a scam. It's just
Mm.
ridiculous. So, all right, my friends. Let's see. Oh, Jonathan, I have no problem getting clients who are willing to pay $30 for a 15-minute reading. If they don't want to pay, I don't sweat it because the person behind them is happy to pay for a reading. Absolutely. There won't be a shortage. I know there's a scarcity mindset about that, but there won't be a shortage.
Mm.
Yeah. And we'll talk about this more, Miss Pretty Bree 10. I like that. How do you start teaching, especially if you're self-taught? Oh, you can. Oh, yes, you can. You start with teaching what you're most comfortable teaching. If you know the
Mm-hmm.
cups through and through, you know that suit like the back of your hand, get started with that. And then just start saying, if you have a social media platform, this Saturday, I'm hosting a Zoom live, pay X number of dollars, $20, get your sign in. Let's go. I know about the cups. I know about reading. That's how you
Mm-hmm.
get started. You can be self-taught and teach. I Many of my teachers are self-taught,
For
So
sure.
yeah, friends. Well, oh, let's see. Phyllis, hey, my friend. She got a beautiful new deck out. I have it. Acapella Tarot. I think it's weird because it's a helpful service, even if certain people don't believe in it. If in it, they've also fund religious institutions, and not everyone is a believer, right? True. They're asking for tithes. If they're asking for tithing, that is an energy exchange. The pastor is in the pulpit doing his
Mm-hmm.
thing, and he's getting tithings, and nobody
Mm-hmm.
bats an eyelash. No one bats a freaking eyelash, right? Okay. I never liked the term fortune telling either. Almost done.
Yeah,
Almost.
that's not my term.
That's not my term.
I have a whole spiel when even some friends will just kid around and be like, "Okay, tell my fortune." I'll be like, I'm not a fortune teller." And
I won't even.
you know what my
Yeah, go
opening
ahead.
line is? It took me a while to get to to me that the whole basis of I said because I believe in free will. I'm not a
Yeah,
fortune teller because I believe in free will.
yeah,
So I'm going to tell you what I see and sense, but you have and that's you kind of have that's like a little teaching exchange there that you have to help people. People just think, oh, they're being cute, they're making a little joke, but actually that's an age old, I don't
yeah,
know what you want to call it, but like that's a murky belief. Like, don't be
yeah,
thinking that I'm your fortune teller. You have free
yeah,
will. I may be more sensitive than you are. I can see things, I can sense things.
yeah,
I'm going to give you some guidance, but it's up to you what you do with it.
exactly. And it's like, and I don't want to knock on people who actually do fortune telling. And, it's not knocking that, but that's not what a lot of us who are readers are doing. I like to call myself an energetic forecaster, where I'm
Mhm.
picking up on the current energies based on the trajectories that people are on right now. But at any point, you can change course. The person you're asking about can change course. It can be volatile like the hurricane season that I'm almost out of, knock on wood. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah. And I don't, those signs that you can get during this time of year at Ross or Marshalls or TJ Maxx. And they're so cute, but little decor where it's like fortune teller, it's got like a little eye, and it's super cute decor that you could put up
Mhm.
and make your space super cute. But I won't get the fortune teller one. If there's one that says tarot reader or palmistry or something like that, I will go for it. But I don't like when it's the signs that say fortune teller. It just kind of rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
Uh,
the same way. But that should be cool to do like
that's a whole nother
a
spiel.
history show, right? Like to kind of know our history and flesh that out. Like, why do some of us have hangups about things like that? Where does that come from?
Exactly.
Just
Where does
yeah.
that come from? We
Yeah, I
certainly
think
don't give it to the preacher in the pulpit, do we now? Like so, but that's a whole nother
well, depends on
story too. Hey, Heather.
what part of the world you're living in, right? Like,
True.
we forget, right? There's a big part of the world that aren't is not Christian, and so
Oh God, yeah.
right, right.
Oh,
Yeah.
God. Well, hey, Heather, I'm so glad you all joined us today. And thank you all so much for taking time. Do you have any final words, Donna, before we wrap up? We've got
Mm,
topics, you all, so stay tuned.
I
I'll be
do.
announcing on the community tab when's our next live. And I'm going to be looking for comments and suggestions on what you all want to explore. We brought up some great things, pricing, all sorts of things we could talk about. Any last words from you, my friend? No, you're on mute.
Big sneeze. That was my last word.
That's okay.
Had
We're
to
human.
sneeze.
We can
Yeah.
have the sneezing and the bodily
Yeah.
functions that they do what they do. So
No,
I
just thank you so much. This was so great. And yeah, give us your feedback because
yes,
be great
please
great to keep this
do.
going.
Yes, that's right, Jonathan. So you all, thank you so much for joining me. And I will see you all around in the community. And y'all keep doing. Remember, declare, I am a reader. I am, if you're not a reader, I am a medium. I'm a psychic. I am this. I am. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You are. So let's practice
Step
that
into
this
it.
week. All right, friends. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Namaste.